Yeah, I know we're seeing M2 growth year over year at lowest pace ever, pretty much. I think there may be one other time, but it's the trend up in credit creation and money supply is up, and right now it's down. So what are you guys quoting inflation numbers you think that you're going to see that's going to keep the Fed from to start those cuts the way down?
Well, Chris, that is a key question that you just put out there. The money supply growth over the last 8 months being negative 2%. That doesn't happen. That is not what you want to happen. I mean, there was a chart on Twitter again this morning showing the year over year growth basically being zero. And you see like how many times through history is it that low? That's another sign of the restrictive territory of the Fed. The number we say you want the money supply to grow at is 5% a year. That's what it grew at for decades before the pandemic. Then it shot up. As we probably talked about on our podcast last year, the money supply is what created the inflation in our view. It's what Professor Siegel, who I've worked with for 20 years, our senior economist, said in May of 2020, right after the pandemic, you're going to have an inflation problem. And now we're saying, hey, inflation's dead. Partly the money supply is one of those indicators. And, I think hopefully the Fed, what's frustrating to us is that the Fed has not said that this is on their radar. I mean, they actually take all their steps to say that money supply has been unrelated to inflation. It's very surprising the Fed has taken that stance that they make no connection between the money supply and the inflation that was in the system. But now, again, the contractionary nature of the last 8 months is not what you want. You want it 5% a year, which is basically 2% inflation, 2 to 3% real growth in the economy, not flat, not contracting. They should live with the inflation that's in the system. We don't think there's much of that. It grew 40% before now it's flatlining and contracting really. Of the inflation that's, if you properly measured inflation in 2021 and you actually looked at the real impact of housing and rental versus how they do it at the CPI, you may only have 5 to 10% excess inflation left in the system from all the money supply growth that was in the system before. So that comes back to our view that the real inflation problems are over.